Dennis Quaid is on the show this week, and I really like Dennis Quaid. You know, what a stud, versatile actor, especially because he's playing Reagan now, which I wouldn't have seen coming.
He's got a new movie coming out where he plays Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
And he plays him at every age, basically. I mean, from 30 to the 85 or whatever it was. So yeah,
from 30 months
to have him.
to 85 years old.
It's like a real movie star. I mean, he came out in the early 80s and he's been just making consistent great stuff. Fun to talk to, super casual. One thing we must say to you, which is kind of humorous, he brought this really adorable bulldog.
Oh, right.
That was lying at my feet and it had its legs out. It was almost like on its back and it was just sort of sleeping, I thought, and snoring. He said, no, I think it was a she. She's not asleep. It's just,
Peaches, maybe?
Peaches is just really content. So if you hear kind of heavy breathing, don't think anything's going on.
I was literally looking at Dennis going, are we going to keep going? So anyway, you might hear a low buzzsaw.
Yes.
Meow in the background.
Yes. And we get to talk about The Right Stuff, which is still the favorite movie he was ever part of, which is like this classic first time astronauts. And it was his coming out movie and then he just had all these amazing hits.
Right. Even movies like, I'd say even movies, but like The Day After Tomorrow with Jake Gyllenhaal, I thought was cool. He does
Inner
good
Space.
movies. He's been around for a while. Good comedy. He hosted. Great dude. Good looking, which is the most important. And he was a lot of fun. He came in and we did it in person, which we don't always do. And we got to do that.
He has no airs about him. He's just like a casual dude. And I asked him toward the end, are you a pirate or a cowboy? And when you listen, you'll find out his answer.
Yeah. He was married to Meg Ryan. That's another piece of trivia. We had a great time with him. Here he is, Dennis Quaid. '90s paid for that.
90s, everybody, come on over.
Come on, boss.
Dennis, I'm great.
Yeah, come on down.
We all did better. Let me see.
The 90s. Are we always recording? We're always recording.
Oh.
What was your biggest financial decade?
The wisdom of McConaughey, ABR.
Always be ready?
Always be recording.
I do. McConaughey as a roller coaster operator. All righty, ride. That's all I got.
Well,
nice and quick.
I guess we'll have to talk about that too.
I know.
So you're still ripped?
You did.
What?
He's still ripped.
I'm vain.
Yeah, are you?
So I'm not going to give it up.
I'm vain. I'm not
vain
that ripped.
too. Can you tell? Well, I'm a lighter frame.
This would be VA, Vain Anonymous,
At your
I guess.
peak musculature, were you like 5'10", 180 kind of guy? Because you look like you could beat someone up in a movie.
I'm 6 feet. I'm 6 feet, 180.
6 feet, 180.
Yeah.
So I'm in a movie.
Always have been.
I'm in a movie with Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas, and they throw in punches, and it's just. So my character, I don't know how anyone thinks about me. My punch is like, dink. I go, fuck, guys.
You were in a movie with Burt Lancaster,
yes, I
Kirk
was.
Douglas?
Yeah. Their
that
last
would be
movie.
the
Tough Guys.
Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday reunion.
Basically, yes. Yeah. It was an extraordinary thing to be around them. I mean, mind-blowing and ridiculous.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Especially Kirk.
Oh, Kirk, man.
Man, he was in shape when he was in his 90s.
Kirk, yeah, he was still doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He would do like max push-ups, max sit-ups. He had weights in his place. And apparently when the director would go in there, he just wouldn't have any clothes on. I don't even know if it was homoerotic. He just, I don't like to wear clothes. And he's doing push-ups naked. I go, I don't want to see that.
He and Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke.
Dick
Jesus,
Van Dyke also was a nudist?
No, he's nearing 100.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I mean, this is a good topic, actually. Actors who make it.
Mel Brooks is 98.
George Burns.
Wow.
Lovitz ran into George Burns in Vegas, and he said, I got 18 months. It got down to like 18 months is what he felt he had. And he died 18 months later.
Was it some cigars? What did he die from?
Well, he was 100.
I know, but was there anything?
Yeah, but there's something that smoking eventually gets you.
Yeah, see, I told you, smoking kills. So that was an old Norm Macdonald joke. So you made it. We got Dennis Quaid here, everybody. We do an intro before, so don't worry. We're gonna fucking.
We got his height and weight. He's still ripped.
I know I'm in great hands.
Yeah. Nothing bad can happen here.
Nothing bad can happen here, and there are no rules, and we've already started, and we're halfway done.
You're almost, yeah, you're almost out of
How
here.
are you, man? It's been a long. See, last time I saw you was on an airplane.
Yeah.
Coming from New York.
What were we doing? Was it some upfronts or something?
I was doing upfronts. Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. That's why we were both on
And
the
we
plane.
were, because we took a picture on the plane.
Yeah, and I'd just done that hoax
Oh, that's
about
right.
that. I'd had a meltdown on the set.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And then I had you like in a headlock, or you had me in a headlock on the
And
had a
then
photo?
3 days later,
Yeah.
released it that it was all a hoax. And it was,
We were on some.
You did a hoax together?
He did a
I didn't get
hoax
the memo.
online, and people thought he flipped out in the set. I think that was it, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
And that someone caught
Funny.
it from a camera.
yeah, Funny or Die.
Oh, Funny or Die
Yeah,
thing. Oh,
that
yeah.
I'd
yeah.
had a serious meltdown on
Very
the set.
believable
And then
meltdown.
it turned out that it was just a comedy skit.
The last time I saw you, I don't know if we interacted. I was at the Par 3 golf course in Studio City with Lovett.
Whitsett?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
Is Lovett still there?
Yeah.
He never leaves that place.
He's a caddy.
if there's pie there, he's there. We love you, John.
Yeah,
They
we
put a
love you.
pie
No, I
there.
talked to him earlier today, and anyway, he's
Tell Dennis Quaid.
hysterical.
Yeah, he gets excited.
But you were just booming, driving the ball.
And cursing in between.
Are you still any
I don't
good?
I could be.
Well,
Not quite there yet.
No time.
Yeah.
do you understand what it means to maybe at one point have a 1 handicap? Is that true?
Yeah.
That's like not normal for an actor.
Oh, it's called too much time on your hands, I guess.
It's called between films.
Like, you have these deluded dreams of, wow, maybe I could actually go on the tour. But that was a passing phase. And, takes
Do you know how
that
bad
good?
most
Jesus.
golfers are? I mean,
I'm-
just
Yeah, I know. I'm
they're
one of them.
horrible. No, but
I'm an 8 handicap now.
But that means, I mean, I would shoot 100. Okay, if I was playing by real rules on a real course.
Yeah. I have
Yeah.
shot 100 before.
Oh, I feel
Yeah.
better.
Sometimes you
just
do
try-
go by the real rules. You have to. I'm a 800 handicap. I don't know what that means, but I was told that early on. No, I actually try to play,
That's
but
about a 15-hour round.
yeah,
That's
is
what
it?
it
Yeah.
is.
You live here or not? So,
I live in Nashville primarily.
Oh,
But my kids are here, and so during the school year, I come back here
Okay.
every
Everyone
other
loves
2
Nashville
weeks.
now. What's the deal?
What?
Is the tax rate? Nashville, which I've played there, it's a great town
It's fantastic.
and zero state tax.
They have 0 state tax. That's true. But
Fucking
it's the vibe that is going on there. There's got an artistic collegial atmosphere that's happening there. It's
Mm-hmm.
not your grandpa's Nashville anymore. It's hard to find a hush puppy. In fact,
I see. Yeah.
and it's just great.
Yeah.
75% of all music done in the United States, regardless of genre, is done in Nashville.
That's what I would tell people. If you walk down the main drag and you go into a bar or whatever, you see like one of the best country western bands you've ever seen. And then you walk a few more feet, and then you see a family doing it.
Yeah.
Great country western. So, and that's another one of your things we'll get to. You are a number 1 gospel song, Fallen, which I listened to today.
Yeah.
Great song.
Thanks.
And you really can sing. Do you ever
Sometimes.
Do you ever
But
go
do you
into-
ever look at other bands of actors? Because the people, you have to earn a lot of respect when you're an actor. And guess what? I could do this other thing. Costner has one.
Mm.
Jim Belushi has
Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves. So it's pretty cool that you've made
There's
a name.
quite a bit. It's either that or, athletes want to be actors or
Yeah.
they want to be basketball players and football players or, it's just something I've always done. Music is just something I've done since I was 12 years old. And songwriting, I knew I was never going to shred a guitar. So I turned to songwriting early. And then I've always had a band. And so
So
it's just something I do.
so what hit you hard? Because we're pretty much the same age.
Yeah.
So that would be, but your kind of country western got you more like Johnny Cash, or were you blown away by the Beatles and all that?
All of that.
All of it. So
All of that.
Yeah.
Grew up in Houston. It's a pretty eclectic place. Actually, grew up musically, and I remember Elvis. I remember Hank Williams. I remember my dad would croon around to Bing Crosby. That was
Sure.
his Elvis, and
Mhm.
Dean Martin, and then the Beatles came along,
Mhm.
and
Everything
That
Shit
blew
up.
everything out of the water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you ever go to Kid Rock's Country Shit Kicker Circus?
Yep.
That's a bar down there.
Yep.
It should be called Bubba Trump's, to be honest.
Yeah.
Is that in
I've been
He's
there.
got another one over at his place too.
Oh, his house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's fun.
His church or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to the old.
He's quite a guy.
He's the mayor of Nashville, pretty much.
He's the mayor of Broadway. That's for sure.
Yeah. There's actually every other Dana, if you go there, when I did the Ryman or whatever last time, every couple bars is a country western singers bar.
Yeah.
Like Aldine, I think there's one of
Yep.
those. There's
Yeah. Tanya Tucker's.
Is there
ready
Tanya
to open it. Well,
Tucker?
she's gonna. It's Tanya.
It's Tanya.
But she's
Dana.
getting ready
Tanya.
to open
What is the
a place.
Tennessee accent? I always thought it was almost like an Al Gore or something. Or he's
Well, Al Gore is
Al Gore
from
is
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah,
I
it
did
is
say
true.
Umbrage
Mhm.
Conmel.
You know, so
Yeah.
many people in Texas came from Tennessee. It's kind of like very similar, I
Mhm.
think. You know,
Yeah.
it was the West back then.
So you
It's
still
an Andrew Jackson accent, I think.
Is that the
Hi,
president?
Everybody knows that.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm doing Andrew Jackson because no one can prove it's not a good one.
Yeah, you do a good one.
I am Andrew Jackson.
I said, boy.
I'm Andrew Jackson here right now.
You've
If you
done-
can't do the impression,
Guy, you've done just about every president there
Yeah.
is.
between you and me, you did Clinton in a movie,
Yeah, I did.
which was great. I mean,
Yeah.
you're.
It was fantastic.
What's interesting. Someone asked me and wrote a really good script as a live streaming show to do Perot in a biopic, like what you just did with Reagan.
Yeah.
And it was a really good script. I just didn't. Wouldn't even know how to approach that, but. That I don't really want to get into how you're, because you don't want to do a caricature. You want to be the
It's
character.
fun. I voted for Ross Perot.
here's the deal.
I will bust my buns
Yes, I
and bite
did.
me with a butterfly?
You're welcome, sir.
Can I I do Ross Perot as James Brown
Because, like
now.
you said, saving and to get around the economic crisis, it'll be fun. I'm surprised that we even had a baby that learned to walk around here. It's hell so much.
The greatest character in the history of politics.
It was fabulous.
In my act now, I do him as James Brown. Can I come in on the one? Can I come in on the one? See, he gets the joke.
I get it.
Okay. Okay.
Music joke.
Can I come in on the one? Yeah, it was a revolutionary thing that James Brown came. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 1, which creates this whole,
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, well,
Well, you did Reagan.
Sorry, David. Just
No, I
talk
wanna talk
shop
about
like
Reagan
this
'cause-
but
he
you-
does Michael J. Fox
Getting pegged.
from the movie Casualties of War. If you
No.
haven't heard it, you have to do it. If you've heard it, don't do it.
It's hard to get me out of my shell. but
Michael
I'll
J.
do it.
Fox from Casualties of War.
Remember Casualties of War?
With
yes,
Sean
I do.
Penn.
Yes,
Sean
yes,
Penn?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Sarge, what are we doing here exactly? You got to give me a minute on this here. Sarge. Come on. Mallory? I combined it.
Well,
That's all I got,
The
Dennis.
fact
I mean,
that
like-
it exists
that's
is
fabulous.
funny. It's fabulous 'cause
That's-
that someone thought to do Michael J. Fox from that particular film.
particular movie.
and he
is
did that
fantastic.
movie, which was
When you do it, it's not like an impersonation. It's like
He's
you
here.
are Michael
He's
J.
here.
Fox.
Sean Penn, John C. Riley. It was
I
a
mean,
good
I even see the haircut.
I think I wanted to be like Michael J. Fox when I got into showbiz, and then I gave that up quickly. But he was too famous, too good. He was great.
Well, let's give a little shout out to Michael J.
Mike
Fox.
Fox. Yes, let's
if
do
you,
it, man.
if you look at Back to the Future and how hard it is to play that part and how brilliantly he did it, it's amazing. He's in
He had
love
to go
with his
back in
mom
time.
and many, many other films. So
He's besides being an incredible person,
yeah,
he really has been. He's
Love
the guy.
extraordinary.
What about this
life.
Reagan thing? Let's talk about that.
the Reagan thing.
You played
Isn't it,
Reagan. Another
First of all, contextually,
Yes.
it's interesting that this is now probably started 2 years ago or whatever. It's coming out.
Started really 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the most tumultuous time in the history of American politics by any measure.
Yeah.
At the very moment we're doing this podcast, and your Reagan biopic is coming out August.
August 30th.
Okay.
So right after the Democratic National Convention.
I guess so, yeah.
Mm.
Do you
I think they're going to close with the screening of the Reagan.
Yeah, Biden will here's a biopic. Dennis Quaid is going to. What? I tell you, come on.
Hey, Reagan's here.
Let's get real. The fact of the deal is, come on. There's no doubt what we did there in the people's spot. Do you think you have the cognitive discipline to be president? Yeah.
Ah,
Sorry,
me.
he's my new toy. But so Reagan, let's start like you did Clinton.
I did Clinton.
And you
that
won
was
awards
back,
for that.
2005, something like that. And I actually played a George Bush type character in American Dreams.
That's
with
right.
a Z.
You weren't technically George W., but you were
No,
George.
but-
So how did that guy sound?
He kind of, sort of. I can't even go there anymore. He kind of, sort of sounded like George Bush.
Right.
And then, you got a Cheney character, So it's pretty obvious. But then
Right.
I was offered Reagan, I guess this is 2018,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And he was my favorite president. And he's like Muhammad Ali, he's like known
Sure.
all over the world and like this. So it took me a while to say yes, because it was just scared to death to play him.
And it seems like you were the perfect choice. I mean,
I didn't see it that way.
Once
well, you have
do
kind
it,
of a head. I mean, there is it's never
A big
like,
head
you
is that
look
what you're
like-
trying
well,
to get to?
your
you're
head is
square jawed. You
Yeah.
know, it's like I can't play
Abnormal.
Reagan. But you mean you kind of you were physically they could kind of.
Yeah, well, I said
suspend
we're both
disbelief.
actors. We both have sunny dispositions, I
Mhm.
think.
Mhm.
But, it was like everybody in the world knows what he looked like, sounded like. And I just didn't really feel it was just
It's a tough one.
a tough one to take on.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
Oh yeah.
so I thought about it for a while. And then because where's the way in? You don't want to do an impersonation,
No.
That's pretty easy. And
Yeah. Nancy and all that.
that's right. And so it took me a while to really kind of get into who he was as a person.
and
I went up to the Reagan Ranch, was Western White House back
Mm-hmm.
there, and it's not a public place. His
Mhm.
friends bought it to keep it as it was.
Mhm.
Their clothes are in the closet there. You expect them
Oh.
to come back any second. They didn't change a thing.
Interesting.
And you go up 5 miles of the worst road in California and get to the top, and I realized that Reagan was a humble man. He wasn't a rich man. And they had a king size bed, but it was 2 single beds that were zip tied together.
Jesus.
They did have GE. They had GE appliances.
Oh,
That's
wow.
from
General
the
Electric.
spokesman
Okay.
for
Fucking
GE.
money bags now.
And his
we're getting
bookcase was there, which had every book he'd ever read, going back to when he was 9 years old.
Hmm.
And there was just a feeling there that you could just feel his presence in a way. And his Secret Service agent John was kind of the caretaker of the place.
Mm-hmm.
He told me all kinds of stories about him, and that's when I decided, yeah, I'll do it.
He's still
What-
guarding it, even though Reagan's gone. That's
Yeah,
nice.
John is gone too. He
Oh.
passed
Well,
right
that
before
joke
we started
backfired.
shooting because we wanted to put him in the movie. But
One thing that's
didn't
interesting to
happen.
me is being around during that time, and Reagan was hung in effigy
mhm.
over. They wanted a nuclear freeze, and no, we're going the other way.
yeah,
And now he's become so bright and shiny
yeah,
that even the New York Times will refer to him how he dealt with Israel once, and so and Fox News likes him. I mean, he's become this character that sort of transcends politics in a way.
yeah. There were
Mm.
Reagan Democrats that
Yeah.
came over at the time, but he was, you'll remember those times. He was called a warmonger. He's going to get us into a nuclear
Mhm.
war for sure.
Yeah.
His economic policy was just for the rich, and he didn't care about the working man. And kind of like what's going on today, in a sense. But he was who he was, and he also he knew how to lead. something in him knew how to lead.
He was tough. I mean, right in the first part of his administration, the air traffic controllers went on strike.
Right.
And he fired all of them.
Yeah.
That was like a tough thing at the time.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, he shut down the airspace, in the FAA, and that had never been done. An entire agency fired all of them. And I think that's when, in fact, him doing that actually made the Russians think that this guy is like, he's crazy. We better watch out. And, Reagan won the Cold War. I mean, along with the Pope and Lech Walesa, yes, but it took a Cold Warrior like that to deal with the Russians because they respected him.
Yeah.
They thought there was 80% thought, oh, well, he's reasonable. And that 20% they thought, well, he might just, if we're not careful, he might do something we regret. Yeah.
One thing that I think in terms of playing him, I wonder what you'd think about this, because watching all these different debates, different politics these days, and Reagan had a thing, and he did it with Carter, and it seems to speak to him so much that he would never get angry. And if he was misrepresented in his way, in his mind, he would say, well, there you go again. Yes. It's the most benign, likable way to say, you're lying, motherfucker.
Yeah.
There you go again.
The best one was in the debate with Mondale, when it was about his age.
Yes.
He said, I will not, for political purposes, exploit my opponent's youth and inexperience.
Brought down the house.
And it brought down the house. Yeah. Even Mondale couldn't help it. He cracked up. and then Reagan did a thing that I'm sure you will recognize. He did a Jack Benny. Because he had them laughing, and he just picked up his glass of water.
Oh, and just did a take
soaked it in.
Stillness.
Just drank to pause. So
killed.
Continue.
It's called killing.
It's a privilege kind of to inhabit him for a while. I mean, he just comes off so likable.
Yeah. He was everybody's dad, I think, to the boomers especially, and that's for worse, better or worse. There's a lot of people who still,
sure.
You can't mention his name and they'll kind of fly off the wall.
This seems like a nonsense.
But he was either your good dad or your bad dad.
Or bad. Yeah, I ran into Patty Davis right after 9/11 at a gym. And she was, I know, I'm just remembering this now. And she goes,
tricep machine.
I know this might come off weird, but I kind of wish Daddy was in the Oval Office now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that weird. Well, that would be great.
There was a reason the Iran hostages got released the day of his inauguration.
I know.
Because the Iranians didn't want to deal with Reagan.
Well, he was the kind of guy, we will not negotiate
with hostages.
And Jimmy Carter's like, well, if we're nice to them, if we're very nice, maybe they'll release the hostages.
Yeah. They'll be reasonable.
They'll be reasonable.
Like us.
Yes.
I think that's what,
That's the problem.
With Americans, we're like that. We grew up like that, the golden rule and all that, what we get taught, and that we think the whole world is the same way.
Like Leave It to Beaver.
You can reason
best.
with, It's an episode of Leave It to Beaver where you could talk to Gaddafi and reason with the guy, and you should be more like Warren Beatty, if you want to protest. But his cousin, but
we get played that way.
They looked alike, but there's really bad people, bad leaders of nations out there, and they've grown up in a culture that's based on political violence or personal violence or whatever. And that's the way they act.
Right. So I agree with you. You got to play it a different way. Because we always think if we do the right thing, they'll do the right thing. And that doesn't always work. And they sort of show their cards. They're not hiding it.
No, they don't.
Since we are the world, literally, there is in the DNA in Americans a lot, and the people who fought to get here and all the immigration we had and all our ancestors, that we want freedom above everything. And we don't want anyone to tell us what to do. I think if the government had said, well, would you take the COVID shot? You don't have to, but we'd kind of like you to. People might have said, okay. But once you tell a certain kind of American, you know, hey, man, fuck you. It's like there's a rebellious side to us, you know.
Yeah, there's true. I am that too. I'm not a very good rule follower.
Yeah.
I'm just
like
not.
You seem like
I don't know if it's based on personal freedom or just, I don't know.
Well, when we grew up, it was question authority. That was the bumper sticker. Whoever's the authority, you know, just question them. They work for us. Remember, it's our government.
Yeah, Watergate. That did a lot after that. And Kennedy getting shot. You know, Bobby Kennedy getting shot. Martin Luther King, and then Watergate.
Yeah,
pretty much. You know, I think America was kind of walking wounded.
That's what
back then.
That was our formative years. David's a little younger, but that was
true.
That
super
informed
young,
everything.
That's what we came into.
David's a lot younger, but
I'm like a child here.
Yeah,
I'm like with my two dads.
So when people,
no, I'm old and gross. Ask
listen here,
anybody.
son. He's like
Go to
my
the
little
comments.
brother. He's very bright. So, David, do you have any questions?
What I do is I take it in. I think we all got introduced to Dennis during the Let's Give Him Something to Talk About video. That's where I first was introduced to you. Do you remember that video?
The something you talk about with Bonnie Raitt?
Yes.
Yes, I remember that very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You look very cute in that.
I was.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
But a great
Bonnie
musician,
Raitt.
Bonnie Raitt, and your music guy. How do you even get involved in that?
At the time,
She's a fan.
I had a band,
Oh,
the
okay.
Eclectics, that was also Bonnie's road band.
See, nobody knows that.
So-
That's a good way.
How
Put
was
that
Bonnie?
together.
What?
How was Bonnie? She's
Bonnie-
a kid,
She
right?
seems cool as shit, huh?
The most, I would have been a fan of her since I was like working at Astro World in Houston. Like
that a
that's when her
hamburger
first
place?
record came out.
Yeah.
You know, that blues record
Mhm.
that was like, man, it was like so different from anything in music. And I just fell in love with her and her music. And then, you know, that she was one of the first people I actually ever met. I met her like when I got to LA about
Mhm.
very soon after that. And she was just so nice. And you cannot give her a compliment. She just,
No
that's her only
pretense.
fault. She won't take a compliment.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
will not do it. And,
Not me.
but,
That's what's great about you. You took a compliment.
By the way,
Got-
you got into one of her best songs. That song is great.
this song is
That
fantastic.
song is unreal.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
And that was before. Then I did a movie called Something to Talk About.
Oh, you
That's
did?
And
right.
it was in that. And but that was just a coinky dink.
Oh.
That had nothing to do with.
Does this ring true with you that I was with Bonnie Raitt at an SNL party and Eric Roberts and Christopher Walken were sitting next to each other?
Wow.
And Bonnie
You're taking
Raitt,
me back to the Carvey
Bo-
Central.
Bonnie Raitt looked at them and goes, God, I feel like I'm having sex just looking at them. I thought that was a really funny line.
Yeah.
You know, and they were kind of in their prime, you know, it was,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
they
cool
looked like
dudes.
badasses. You
Yeah.
know, it's like,
Well, I was just talking to Dana about when you did SNL, and it was probably right when I got there. I think you said right when Sandler got there, right? Because
Sandler was
I think
in
it
that show.
December.
Yeah. There was the Christmas show.
Christmas show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was he
1990.
just joined.
Yeah.
It was a pretty big show. It was a great show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we did Dysfunctional.
Please don't touch me.
Right.
Leave me
I'm doing
alone.
fine. Just
Please
go away.
don't.
Yeah,
I'm
leave
doing
me
fine.
Oh, I remember that one.
The family Christmas.
Yeah,
Dysfunctional.
We just talked to
Dysfunctional.
Bonnie and Terry
Yeah.
Turner, the writers who wrote that.
Yeah, they were just
one
on.
of their favorite sketches they ever wrote on SNL.
It was beautiful.
That got
Yeah.
stuck in my head. That was
Yeah.
hilarious.
And you played the crazy pilot,
hmm
and
That Mike Myers was on the show at that time.
yeah,
Did you do
he did it.
Sprockets?
I was on Sprockets. Sprockets.
Did you touch the monkey?
Yes.
You did touch
Yeah.
touch my
Yeah.
monkey.
Ja.
What
That
a-
was my favorite part of that. The arbitrariness.
Ich habe ihn fast und Samstagen du bist eingeladen.
What a great time to be on the show, though. How fun. Yeah.
That
what
was a
fun.
great time.
Who was your music? You remember?
The Neville Brothers,
Neville Brothers.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that because of you?
who were, I guess it was, but I didn't ask them. You know, that was all done. It was mysterious how that all
Oh,
happened.
Mhm.
made
But
sense.
yeah, they were
Yeah,
Gosh,
what
I
a
love
great
that movie.
time.
Finished, Pilot Renegade guy, and then Mustang Calhoun. So they did get you on a 6-string. It's a pretty funny name for a country western guy or whatever.
Mustang Calhoun.
Mustang Calhoun.
Mustang
Can still use it. MC.
So what do you want? I just finished up with Reagan a little bit.
I love
what do
Reagan.
what's your hopes for that? Have you seen it? Or you feel great about it?
I've seen it, yeah. And we finished shooting like almost 4 years ago.
Oh, for
In fact,
real?
4 years ago will be this October when we
Because of
started
COVID
shooting
stopped
it.
the whole thing.
And so it's it's been a journey. And then
The movie got COVID.
yeah,
That's never happened.
yeah, we got COVID. Like
Did you get shut down?
I see the scene where I got COVID in this.
Oh, really?
That's the assassination.
Oh, yeah.
See.
That's the worst kind.
Yeah, in the hospital.
Oh,
getting
shit.
by
Yeah.
gurney past all these extras like
Oh,
that
really?
at 2 in the
You know-
morning in a basement with no
And that's when it was.
ventilation.
You must, when
Then
this
the entire
happened
crew had it.
with Trump, you must know more about assassination attempts just from knowing about the movie. So was there any questions
That was
you
the
had about
last
that?
time a president was shot. Was
Yeah,
Reagan.
it was
Yeah.
Reagan.
And you do it. It's bio. I mean, you do him young. You're doing
Yeah.
him middle age. I mean, that's also a huge challenge to do that.
I play him from 35,
yeah.
when he first came to Hollywood through when he said goodbye to the American people in his letter
That
when
letter,
he had diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
beautiful letter. I mean,
Yeah,
only
it
Reagan.
was an incredible letter.
Yeah, it's just so human.
Yeah, and it was, it was a challenge. I mean, first just the voice, because in his younger days he's like way up here. We
Yeah.
all have a
Mm-hmm.
kind of a higher pitch, and eventually get down
I
to
totally agree.
where it's well,
Yeah.
and it's that, and just meeting so many people that were close to him. And one thing I found was that even to those who were very close to him, probably including Nancy, there was kind of a private place in him that was kind of unknowable.
A little bit of
Yeah,
there's something
just
there.
that was kind of separated and distant from
Mhm.
the rest of the world.
Nancy was who plays Nancy? Because
Penelope Ann Miller,
okay,
and she
She's
is
great.
Nancy.
she's in Nancy
She
because she was in The
she-
Enforcer, right? When it came to Ronnie.
it was, a lot of people would think that, but no, they just
Or even just
they had there would have not have been a President Reagan without Nancy,
okay.
because she was just there for him.
Mm-hmm.
She really dedicated her life to their love and his aspirations, and but it's she wasn't what I call the enforcer or anything like that.
Well, I think that she protected him in a different way. Like when Reagan went to Japan, it was a 7-day trip, and Nancy insisted first they go to California, rest for a day, then they're in Hawaii, then they're in
Oh, Brian, I
Guam.
read about that.
Rather than just like when they're whipping Biden around, I mean, that is tough at 81. You go there and back,
Right.
She was protective that way. But so was the assassination attempt, did you act that out?
Yeah.
The whole thing?
Yeah, we recreated that.
Okay.
And that was
Was James Brady shot and then also
yeah.
someone else, right?
James Brady, and then also the Secret
Service guy. Okay.
The famous
guy,
shot where he did the
takes it in the gut like
Yeah.
that. And the shot that got Reagan and was actually a ricochet off the car.
Oh,
Either off
okay.
the bulletproof glass or the metal. And he was going like this, saying hello to everybody, and it caught him right here.
Oh,
And
under the arm.
it wasn't like 4 minutes of while they clear everything. They just put a hand on
Shove
top
him
of his
in.
head, shoved him
Every
in on
second
top
counts.
of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he got up and he said, "Gosh, you almost broke my ribs." He was
'cause he
admonishing
was
the
feeling-
Secret Service for that. And
Yeah.
then, they were going to the White House. They weren't going to the hospital because he was okay, untouched. And then about 4 or 5 blocks down, he coughed up some blood. And that's what made him go to the hospital.
Okay.
And
He still didn't feel. Oh, wow.
yeah, and if they hadn't done that, he would have died for sure. The bullet had gone here. It was just the smallest, tiniest little hole, but it had stopped like a 1/4 inch from his heart.
Jesus.
And,
yeah.
It's like Trump with the
Well,
That's like
quarter-
Trump with the ear.
quarter-inch both.
I also thought when they took him away, he doesn't know there could be one in his back. If you're in shock and you're adrenaline, I wasn't sure everything was okay. You know, when
Yeah.
same reason.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you never know. And, you know, I think those guys on the ground, I mean, they took 4 minutes, but they did the right thing, you know, thinking about other shooters. It seemed to me, too, that when they got him on the ground, what they did, because he said, I want my shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they basically ripped open his shirt,
Yeah.
you
took his
know,
tie
and
off.
checked
Oh,
him
checked him. Oh, I
everywhere
didn't know
for
that. Okay.
any kind of wounds that he might have, you know, before they got him up, knew they could transport him. Because, you know, if
And
somebody's
his shoes,
shot,
his shoes were what? He
supposedly
just
don't
fell?
move. What?
What was the shoes?
Well, they must have taken off the shoes. I don't know. Maybe they took his
When they
pants off.
tackled
Or
him, maybe they were
I don't know
loafers
what.
when they
Right.
when
Yeah.
they grabbed
So they're
him.
giving him a
somehow
quick
his
check.
shoes got off.
His shoes got off because I think they took them off.
Yeah. Oh, they just took them off, took the tie off. They're just looking
Yeah,
for.
they were just looking for any kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. And then they're like on top of him going, okay, we got to make a move now.
Yeah.
And then they got a plan. Obviously,
Then they heard what shooter. They said the shooter's down.
Right.
That was about 45 seconds.
Did it surprise you that the guy got close and wasn't seen?
Incredible.
It's incredible. When you were seeing this video, I don't know if it's a policeman or the Secret Service, the sniper looking at the bad guy, let's say, and he sees him, aren't you allowed to just shoot if the guy's got a gun? You see a guy laying there with a gun. Do you have to wait to get orders? Or, because remember, he looked up, then there's a shot, then he goes down and hits him. But if you've got him in the sights, he's wearing camo and he's got the gun. So is it just a rule you can just take a shot?
Well, who knows?
There's
Ask
a
questions
person
later.
here between the three of us that
I
is
would-
qualified
Yeah.
to play the head of the security team in a biopic.
Or we're going to write a report. This is a
Yeah.
commission. With
No,
three,
this
you have
is-
a commission,
Yeah,
right?
you'll be the hard-boiled guy coming and go,
This
what the
is-
fuck went on here?
This is called
I want this perimeter
Three-
locked down.
We can
You know.
take all the lines from every movie we've done.
three
Yeah.
dipshits.
This
gotta
is-
figure
I'm
this out.
getting too old for this shit.
Who's your agency? CAA, UTA. Just put it in their ear.
Yeah.
This has got motion picture written all over it. But yeah, we'll find out.
We cracked the code right here, and everyone's like, wow, no one thought of
Going
this.
to come out August 14th.
Yeah, so everything we say now will be
There will be
completely
people falling
useless.
asleep on the
No
freeway.
Yeah,
sense.
it was like,
Yeah.
what were they thinking? So I
Yeah.
think we better shut up right
Yeah.
now.
It's impossible. No, it'll still be going on, knowing the way it works in America.
All I
Yeah.
can say is thank God we can laugh about it
True.
as far as
Oh,
Trump goes. I mean,
Absolutely.
but the firefighter who lost his life, that's
We
Was
talked
it the
about
same
him
bullet?
yesterday, trying to protect his
it,
wife and daughter.
I'm trying to figure out where he was. It was
he directly
a
behind him?
grandstand over between him and the shooter? I don't get it, but
It would have been.
I mean, the guy
behind.
dove on his family
I know.
when things
Yeah.
came up, and it's
Because of all the, oh, he's okay. No one knew right then. No, someone was not okay.
yeah.
You know, when they get Trump out, you think he's okay, but no one knew if someone got hit.
The randomness of human existence, it's just so tragic.
Yeah,
you know?
it really is.
And heroic, of course. The instinct, you always think the impulse would be to dive on your loved ones, but
Yeah.
he actually did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Easier said than
sacrificed
done.
himself. Yeah.
I think when I watched that, or when I was seeing replays, it was so weird to see if Biden or Trump, if something happened to them on live TV, it would be so disturbing it's so weird. Because, you know, it was not since Kennedy where it was like really, but no one really saw that. They saw a video later, but to see it happen in real time, it would
Yeah.
have shook the shit out of
Well,
anyone.
we all know it would have been the most gothic thing. I talked to a military guy, a friend of mine,
Especially
and
kids.
what would have happened would have been beyond what we can imagine.
Yeah.
And with bright color
Yeah.
8K television globally.
It
So
would have been.
Terrifying.
It's just
Yeah.
we're all a little still shook from it. I definitely was adrenalized after I saw that. For
It
a
would have
couple
been one of
hours.
those things you could never unsee.
What was your first bit? I'm going to get away from this because you guys
Yeah, thank
obviously
you.
don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
but
good.
it's the Ronald Reagan
do.
extravaganza picture, August
No.
24th.
Yeah,
But I'm very proud of the movie, to tell you the truth.
of course.
And,
That speaks volumes.
with
Yeah.
editing, and we try. It's I don't see it as political. The film, it's it's about a man's
it's
life.
human. Yeah.
It's not a total love letter.
Mhm.
Reagan missed, the way his response to AIDS
Mhm.
at the time was
Behind the 8 ball a little bit.
wanting,
Yeah.
I think.
Mhm.
Later on, I think he came around about it, but the initial response was
Mhm.
not there. Iran-Contra, I
Mhm.
don't think he was involved in it, but it was on his watch.
Yeah.
He delegated a lot,
Mhm.
and I think he would say things, and then those below would carry them out.
Mhm.
And so there's some things which which were not the best, but overall, I myself, I think he was the greatest president of the 20th century. He and maybe Franklin Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was charming, and even going back to this, but after he got wounded, and just again very Reagan. I'm sorry, mommy, I forgot to duck.
I forgot. Yeah,
I mean, just all.
But
those
he did bring unity to a nation, and he brought us back. We were a declining nation. Everything. It's so strange about how
the
today is so
similarities.
similar.
Mhm.
Carter was in there, who I voted for too, by the way.
Thank you very
because
much.
after Watergate, you wanted somebody out. We
Yeah.
wanted somebody
That was the
outside of Washington.
anti-Nixon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Carter, like, he gave away the B-1 bomber. The economy was really down the tubes,
Mhm.
and
Crazy inflation.
it just 20% was
Yeah.
the interest rates
Yeah.
back then. And that may have been caused by the Vietnam War, not just Carter's administration.
The 70s was an odd decade.
It was, yeah. But
economically.
we felt like we were a nation in decline,
Mhm.
and Reagan came along and really made us feel proud to be Americans again.
Well, and also there's this great picture. Tip O'Neill was the leader of the Democrats, and then Ronald Reagan, and they would go in and have a drink and tell dirty jokes.
Yeah.
And then Reagan would say, "What do you need?" They'd negotiate, and there's a picture of them coming out just laughing their asses
Mhm.
off. And that's like as if that would be, the Speaker of the House, I
Yeah,
don't know,
it never
Schumer
happened.
and whatever, Trump,
Yeah.
or being friends. So
Yeah.
he did rotate that
Exactly.
a little bit, and he negotiated with the Democrats.
Yeah, it'd be like Nancy Pelosi and Trump.
Yeah, laughing their asses,
laughing and
just barrel
getting
laughing.
together for
Pickleball.
a beer on a Friday afternoon. And that's
Yeah.
basically the way it was. And they even said at the beginning that, we're going to be bitter enemies until 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we're,
And then we're
we're just a couple of Irishmen having
Yeah.
a beer.
Yeah.
And they were.
I did like that Biden called Trump. I do like when there's some normal things happen in the world.
Yeah, I
and
did too.
it just drops it for a
Definitely.
second, and it's not going to go away. But
Right.
you just go, okay, so we have real people trying to be real people for a second.
And that was a time back then, which I think Tip O'Neill and
Mm-hmm.
Ronald Reagan
Mm-hmm.
kind of exemplified that.
Yeah.
I think that's what we need to get back to, at least, to be able to talk back and forth.
That would be great. I don't know.
Sounds so simple.
Yeah, it does. So, I mean, we pass each other in the street every day. We
Yeah.
go into each other's businesses, no matter what side, and we're polite to each other, treat each other like human
Absolutely.
beings,
Yeah.
until you find out they're a label, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden they're demonized.
Well, whoever made social media, I guess, programmed the robots to get more views, and the robots figured out the way to get more views is to get people angry.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't know they're being hypnotized into darkness on the World Wide Web, at least be aware that it's trying to feed you what gets you going. So I think I don't have any
exactly.
answers,
You
but I
hit
have
something right on the point there,
Mhm.
and that starts, I think, with kind of self-examination.
I tell every human being I meet, whatever their opinion is, okay, now read the opposite.
Yeah.
Read the opposite.
Yeah.
I juxtapose
You
the Wall
can
Street
find the
Journal and
opposite
the New York
easily.
Times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just in the morning. It's $100 a year each. I just go,
Right.
well, what does the New York Times take? What's the Wall Street Journal's take? I find myself watching stuff I disagree with more because I know my opinions.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
if everyone would say, okay, I'm going to just read the opposite for a week.
I might learn something.
Yeah, that's all.
You know what I mean? Even if it's that, why are why is the other side not even covering this? You know, sometimes.
Well,
but
censorship by omission is the greatest use of censorship.
Yeah,
on
I
whatever
totally
side.
agree, and I'd like to see at least more of that.
Well, more awareness. I mean,
no, more in coverage.
Yeah,
More reporters. I mean,
Yeah.
people who call themselves journalists actually
right.
Not giving you their judgment of something that's putting themselves in the story to actually tell the story.
To humanize.
I think that is I agree 100%. That's called journalism, I think.
Yeah.
There's a quote by Thomas Sowell, who's an economist I always like in terms of the whole political theater and the intensity of it. There are no solutions, only trade-offs. We are always trying to make better, but there's not like one side has it all perfectly worked out. So there's no reason to demonize the other
Yeah,
side.
I mean, that's what our country's based on.
Yeah.
And they called it compromise.
Compromise.
Right from the very beginning.
You like equality, I like freedom. Let's work out a relationship, how they work together. I would run on a ticket with you. Just for, you would run for governor. I'd be lieutenant governor in California.
Oh, we could switch it up.
I'm just throwing it out.
What do I do? Look after
I think
this
in
dog?
California, you have a better chance. In Texas, I would have the better
in
chance.
Texas.
In
Well, I
Texas,
would
yeah.
just-
But you do such a great George
I go
Bush
to
that
Texas,
you would be.
and I would just do George W.
Yeah, most of your
I think
impressions are
Lieutenant
Say hello to
Governor.
Governor Quaid. That sounds good, doesn't it? I like being W because he was our frat boy president, emotional, and just that kind of thing, you know. He's just a cheerful.
You get me every time with that. Then you also delineated between him and the father, George the One.
Well, education, doing well down here. Quaid, podcast, fly, wall, Spade, Greg, Heather. Somebody in a room.
1,000 points of light.
1,000 points of light coming at you. No, but to the point, that was the most extreme. If you reverse extrapolate, whatever, interpolate. I made fun of him. He lose the election. And he calls me, and we become friends. People go, but I didn't know him while I was doing him. I didn't know.
But the impression's so silly and dumb. It's nothing. SNL was
That
like
was
that.
so perfect.
Yeah.
If he'd had Twitter back then, he might have been Dana Garney doing that impression of me right now on Saturday Night Live, right, waving his arms around like a spastic monkey. #dick. Could have been, but there was no Twitter.
Yeah.
So I was out there. But anyway, so we all hope for a better time. I'd like to talk about the right stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say, do any of these movies ring a bell?
Possessed by that movie.
Right Stuff.
I love it. I mean,
The Right Stuff is
that your
actually my favorite movie I've ever done.
Really?
Until Reagan, actually. It kind of, after 40 years, that spot's been taken over. I judge the movies I do, I judge by the time I had on them. You know what I mean?
You mean the shooting?
Yeah, well, the time that I had experienced while making it.
From the beginning to the end, right.
Martin
what I
Sheen
know.
said that to Rob Lowe and all the Brat Pack guys. And he says, that was his advice. You just think about, do you like who you're working with? Do you like the job you're doing? Don't think about outcome and all that other stuff. So that's really interesting that you loved making the right stuff.
Well, I was from Houston, which was Space City, and I was right there first grade when they rolled in the TV so we could watch Alan Shepard go up. Capsule. Gordo Cooper was my favorite astronaut. He was the youngest. He was the rock and roll astronaut. And I love that name, Gordo. And then, the book comes out and I read it like in 2 days. And if they ever make a movie of this, I would, I want to play Gordo. And I was not Dennis Quaid back then.
Sure.
You done some work.
I was just trying to get a job, you know.
That's a while back. Yeah.
Basically.
So you had done a few things and you were lucky to get in, just even an audition, right?
I got in for the audition because somebody dropped out of the role. And then I got in there and I got the part. And then it turned out that Gordo Cooper lived 3 miles from me in LA, over in the valley.
Oh.
So I called him up.
Oh, you got to see him.
And we met him. And then he turned me on to a flight school in Van Nuys, and I got my pilot's license while we were making the movie in secret. And
did that come naturally to you? I mean,
no, I was afraid to fly. actually before that, I felt like, you're going to fall out of the sky.
I still I don't really like it.
Yeah. But I had this teacher, my instructor was Bud Wallen. And he was
Bud,
3
fly by the
years.
seat of your pants.
He
Wallen.
was 3 years younger than aviation itself. And
Really?
you can solo if you want to, but you don't have to. That was his thing. And it was, he had me through it. He was,
had that on the side of the plane. You can
Yeah.
solo if you want to,
Solo.
but you don't have to.
That must be scary as shit to
Bud,
solo.
seat of my pants. Wallen.
Oh, it was after I got my license. Really.
Is it really
It's just a
scary to go
license to
solo?
really scare
I mean,
yourself.
the first time, even if you're good, is it just terrifying?
It's a license to kill yourself.
Yeah.
Until you get like an instrument rating on top of that, because
It's too scary because anything can happen. You're by yourself. What if
Yeah,
you didn't feel
I was
good?
lucky. But John Kennedy was kind of,
Yeah.
God love him. I don't think he really had any business flying that night.
Yeah.
It's
That was a night.
common thing of the disorientation.
That was during
you
SNL.
can't tell up from down.
No,
Right.
yeah.
You're just completely
Like when you do your instrument training, they
Mhm.
put a hood on you. You take off and they put a hood on you that's like this, just, covering. The only thing you can
see is
see
the
is the
instruments.
dashboard with the instruments.
Mhm.
You can't see outside, and you have to fly for maybe 2 hours like that. And then they you get 50 feet above the runway and they take it off and you see if you're there. or
Did
not.
John F. Kennedy Jr. get that?
But you
training?
have your inner ear is telling you that you're in a turn, that you're at an
Oh.
angle. And so you're constantly trying to
Compensate.
level
Yeah.
what you think is the wing, but your instruments are saying you're straight and level.
Wow.
But you're going to trust your inner ear.
Damn.
So you're
That's the
trusting
thing you have
panel?
to
Is
get
that what
Note
they
over.
to
say?
self: don't take pilot lessons.
Don't do
Yeah.
it. Don't leave the house.
But that was something else. And then Chuck Yeager was on the set every day.
So
And,
he's arguably like the coolest, badass test pilot, or is the test pilot of the
of all time. Nobody will ever touch him. He was
Fearless.
checked out in 192 separate aircraft. It was, and he locked us in a room and told us his whole story, going back from when he was a lawnmower repairman in West Virginia. Farm kid to like World War II, and 5 shoot downs in World War II, and the whole test pilot stuff.
The
And
X-15, I think, the first speed of sound.
yeah, he never. That was the X1.
That was the
X-15,
X1.
he never flew,
Oh, okay.
but he was out of it by that time. But he was an incredible human being. It was like hanging out with John Wayne for
The thing about
4 months
that
or
book
something.
and that movie, it's just so interesting when you don't know anything and really get just the idea of these young men or whatever age they were, and how you kept going back and forth with the German scientists. We want a window,
Yeah.
all that stuff,
right.
and what a tin can it was, and what the technology was so lo-fi. The bravery or the craziness, I don't know what. How did you?
Well, that the only thing, like I said, is my favorite movie. I loved making it. It was 9 months. I was,
Shit.
I
that
wished
long.
it never ended when I was doing it. But the one thing that I think was kind of the Achilles heel about the film is the way they treated Gus Grissom. The second one into space, lost his capsule, went to the bottom of the ocean.
Right, he blew the chute, or what was the phrase?
Screwed the pooch.
Screwed the
Where
pooch.
they say, they were always trying to get to the top of the pyramid.
Right.
And then if you screwed up, that was, it was your fault. It wasn't the machine, even if it broke.
That's kind of like you panicked. If you pull that
Yes.
thing before you're supposed to.
You lost your cool.
Lost your cool, you panicked. Worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that was fair or unfair? Not fair.
Unfair, completely unfair. It was used as a device, a literary device by
Mhm.
Tom Wolfe. And Phil carried it over in directing it. But it wasn't true. I mean, his family is still alive. This is, more people saw the movie than remember all those things. And that's his legacy. But what happened was that it was the first time they were trying out that the escape hatch that they put needed an escape hatch,
Right.
and they didn't take into account that when you go into space and you come back down to Earth, the pressure building up and stuff like that, inside the capsule and the air outside. So when he hit the water, the escape hatch actually blew itself. And then the spacecraft went 16,000 feet down, and he was filled up with water in his spacesuit. He barely made it outside. It was heroic how he actually got out of that spacecraft. And so that's what he gets. And if he had screwed the pooch, then why did they give him the first Gemini mission?
Right.
And why did they give him the first Apollo mission where he wound up getting fried on the launch pad?
Right.
Burned alive.
Yeah.
He was actually the one that, because the astronauts were also kind of in charge of quality control, and he was constantly complaining about how shoddy these things were put together in the electrical system. And that's what happened in the pure oxygen.
I know. I remember that day too.
But to his legacy, Ed, what happened, that's my one regret of that film.
Well, we have 1,300 peaches.
Is the dog okay?
She's just agreeing.
She's just agreeing.
That's her talking.
It's snoring and there's a fart once in a while.
It's not actually snoring. It's kind of like her talking, right, Peachy?
Peachy.
Yeah.
Peachy's like, jeez.
Super happy on this carpet.
Riveting convo, Peachy.
Yeah.
Incredibly comfortable.
She goes everywhere with me.
Too
She's a service.
cozy.
Sandler too always has dogs like that, right? Bulldogs.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got Bagel right now.
So then you go into what's the movie that turned you into a
it was
80s sex symbol? Was it was sort of easy, was the one in New Orleans?
Yeah, I guess so.
Big Easy?
Big
Well,
Easy.
The Big Easy, yeah.
Who's in that?
Ella Barkin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a
she's
cool
so
movie.
That was a cool movie.
Yeah. Atmospherically.
Jim McBride directed that. And he was kind of, he had just done Breathless with Richard Gere. And he was kind of he was actually over there, during all that French New Wave stuff in France. And he kind of brought that sensibility to the film. And it was so much fun, so they tell me, to do that movie.
Okay, we can read through the lines a little bit. They can't all be, but
in New Orleans. We were in New Orleans for like 6 months.
You mean Nolans?
Nolans, yeah.
Yeah, Nolans.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
right.
Now that we're
that
into
accent, all that stuff.
That world, you were literally riding a rocket once Dennis Quaid came into being.
It was
the
funny.
movie star Kevin.
That movie came out,
and
it was. I remember it was like it didn't really do well.
Really, it kind of resonated.
It was kind of down the line, And then it's the only time this ever happened in my whole career is like the second weekend. They said it went up.
It went up?
Yeah.
That's almost
and then
impossible.
it kept going up. And then it turned into this kind of like, girl get together.
Pure word of mouth.
Right. Did they have a name? They were called Quadies, or did they have a name, the fan group? Of
Big Easiers. I don't know.
Big Easier.
Yeah. Big and Easier.
The Dennis Dolls.
Bigger and Easier, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Quaaludes.
So that's Quaaludes.
There you have
That's
it.
what I was remembering. That it got into
For
the
a movie to
zeitgeist
go
as a
up,
sex symbol.
there's I think Titanic there's very few movies that go up this first week, the second weekend, and the third.
Almost never.
It's impossible.
Almost never. Bonnie and Clyde was the only other one I could.
Really?
Oh, really? With
Yeah, they
Faye
brought that.
Dunaway?
They brought that out at the beginning of the summer. I remember when I was like 12, and it didn't do well. It just fell on its face, and then they brought it out again in the
love
fall,
that shit.
and it was all about Faye Dunaway's wardrobe. It was a huge hit.
Oh, she was.
I saw it in the theaters. I was a little disturbed by it. I didn't quite know what was going on at certain
That
times.
was a
They were
brutal
rolling around in the
shooting,
bed,
too.
and he had a gun. I didn't know quite what it meant.
What's happening?
Yeah, no lover boy.
Dana was scared.
I did see Enemy Mine. Was that a fun one to
Enemy
make?
Mine.
Yes.
You were on a planet with Lou Gossett Jr.
Yes.
That was affecting. I thought that was really landed, emotional.
Yeah, I do too. I
A
look
stranded
back with
astronaut meets an alien.
fondness of
Yeah, I remember
that movie.
Just a
And Lou
cool-
was like, he was so incredible.
He committed
Always talking like
the whole time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I did see it.
And then Inner Space.
Inner Space.
It was
which
a
is
big hit.
probably the most seen movie worldwide. That I've been in the back of India, and I've
Really?
Inner space.
I love
space.
it.
Oh, tuck.
Oh.
Yeah. That
Is that your character's name?
You go, guy.
You go, guy.
Hey,
In the
guy.
space, you're very tiny in the movie. But
Love
You're not so tiny now.
No, you're bigger than the movie time. Okay. So I have a Hindu cardiologist, so I get
Yes.
a free
Dana
pass
always
for
says that
the
he gets a
Indian
free
food.
Dr.
pass.
P.K.
Yes.
Shaw,
Yeah.
who won't let me not.
There
do-
was nothing not racist, or there was nothing racist about that.
Not at all.
Yes.
And politically correct. Great Balls of Fire, another one. I
Yeah,
saw these
Jerry
in the
Lee Lewis.
theater. Another,
Of course.
incredible, high energy, memorable movie.
The Great Balls of Fire.
Playing
Yeah.
Jerry Lee Lewis, who
Yeah.
was like 18 when he made it,
Uh,
or 16. I mean,
he was 21.
and a
when he
crazy
made it.
man on the piano. For people who
Yeah.
don't remember him,
It's,
showman.
yeah, he was on the set every day.
Oh,
I
the
didn't
real
play
guy?
piano when I got that role, but I had a year to prepare for it. And luckily, I was on cocaine at the time
Good
because
job.
that will make you obsessed about anything.
Mhm.
And so I was 12 hours
Okay,
a day on
Smart.
the piano.
All right.
Yeah, not
for our listeners.
Yeah,
That
but
was-
the movie
that's-
ended
for
6
those
months after
listeners,
the
that's
movie
Adderall,
came
basically.
out. I was in rehab for that, by the way.
But
It's-
for that
it's
part,
been
you had
over
to be
30
like,
years
so,
for
whoa.
that. But
But you were playing the piano really pretty skilled. I mean, very.
and I stuck with it. Jerry was one of my
He was
teachers.
he was teaching the piano.
yeah, Jerry Lee, probably his
Pretty cool.
only student he ever had.
How do they
Or-
do? He had a young bride, right? How do they do that on a movie where they have to hire someone 18 to play? How old was she?
Winona
13.
was.
Oh,
I
was
think
Winona?
She turns. Yeah, Winona Ryder. She
Oh,
turned. I
love
think
it.
she turned 17.
Oh, and she had
In
to
the
play
film.
13, maybe 14, whatever.
Hmm.
What's that?
How old was she in the movie?
In real life, she was on the cusp of 12, 13.
Oh,
And he
Is
was
that weird?
21. And they were cousins. And,
Yeah.
Kissing
it's
cousin.
like, it really seems outrageous. And this is in no way in defense
yeah.
of anything. All I could say is about culturally
Mhm.
that back in the day of farm families, there's a reason that you have bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. It means that you are grown up, and that's when people
yeah.
got married back then at that age.
Mhm. Yeah.
Henry VIII was 14 when he got married to. And
Oh, yeah.
it's historically that's otherwise we wouldn't be here. People were having
Right,
kids
well-
early, but it's still
Did people flip out back in the day when he actually did it?
Yes,
Or
they
no-
did.
Oh, they
Once
did.
they got it, no one here knew about it in
Okay.
the States. And it's when they went to England and she was tagging along, and some reporter in the welcoming airport press conference
Mm.
asked her, "Who are you, little girl?" And she says, "Well, I'm Mrs. Jerry Lee Lewis.
no way.
And
Uh-oh.
that was
Good
the
boy.
end of his career, just like that.
Oh, really? I
It
didn't
turned
know
off
that.
just like that. And it was done. It was like he was
Huh.
as
He got
big
canceled?
as Elvis at
He
that
was.
point.
I was wonder
Elvis,
why.
in fact, was had just gone into the military, and he was
So
king of
he-
rock and roll. And that was the end of that.
58.
Shit.
And then he just trundled around, but he never really got headlining gigs or record deals or a
Well,
lot less. Or,
It it was about 8 years went by,
mm-hmm.
and he got into country music,
Okay.
which was his roots.
Yeah.
And he was huge in country music. Really
A
big.
real-
He did
yeah.
come back.
So he slowed down the music then. Because in the 50s, it was really bebop.
Oh, he'd still do that.
Oh, yeah.
I went on tour with him a couple of gigs when
With the Sharks?
with his band and
Mhm.
his like Learjet, 6 guys jammed jammed
Lear
jammed into
25 with the
Yeah.
ceilings
Learjet
here.
sounds
All right.
big. It's
Yeah.
not big. You
Oh,
can't
man.
stand up.
I had a guy with
What a
cowboy
ride,
boots.
but
They pulled G's on
I
that
saw
thing.
he would just go all night. I saw him when we were recording the music sit at the piano for 10 hours without even getting up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
10 hours.
Adderall.
Yeah.
With,
Well,
unmedicated?
Jerry
Oh, okay.
in this back pocket, he had a 38.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And in this other pocket, he had a bottle of Seagram 7. And that he had soaked his pills in, most probably.
Oh, that
because
old
I know
chestnut.
people who took one sip of that stuff and went went down.
Show business is
floor.
fascinating. The amount of
Showbiz.
self-destruction in artistic people.
And he was, but he was like, he was a really sweet, genuine person. And then he could be like a 14-year-old schoolyard bully at the same time. And, but he was genuine, and he was like, there'll never be another like him. He was a genius at the piano.
Yeah.
When you go super famous to that happens to it goes away, it must screw with your head so much.
Yeah.
It's too weird. And plus, he probably wasn't ready for fame anyway. No one really is.
I think we've all had like mini versions of that. Haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, not scandal, if you don't want to say scandal, but the ebbs and flows.
Sure.
Or suddenly, the tap is turned off because of this or that.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I always go
Hollywood
back
jail.
to I do
Hollywood jail.
Hollywood jail.
One bad movie, Hollywood jail.
But I to be able just to make a living was always the goal. Like
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
working right now.
Exactly.
And it's extraordinary to lose that humility about it, because there by the grace of who? God. There still is some whimsy to this whole chapter, and brilliant people might have just missed. I knew comedians that were brilliant and just missed the timing of getting on SNL and have a fine. They do stand up and they're fine, but there's a lot of whimsy to it.
It's hard to get cocky when you see people better than you all the time, and you go, it didn't happen.
Yeah, we all grew up with people like that in our classes. Stuff that we're so lucky to be here, and you're exactly right about that. The humility, just wanting to get a job.
Yeah,
I mean, I still carry that around because it's like
still a miracle.
It makes it real, and it makes it enjoyable. Actually,
oh, absolutely,
doesn't it?
Yeah, because then it's just fun. I'm still in the game here.
Yeah.
By the way, something you did recently, I just love. I just want to insert this because I loved Billy Bob Thornton. Everything he does, and I love Goliath, and I love the season where you were the bad guy.
Yeah,
it with Billy Bob Thornton. Did you love that? Because it seemed like you were having a blast.
I had so much.
It's
fun.
Almost like a Columbo thing in a way. That you're the bad
Billy
guy.
Bob and I have been friends for 25, 30 years.
Yeah,
he's
in his own frequency, and it's so fun to be around.
We're both very much alike because we're both down at the bottom. We're rednecks. That just happened to break out over here.
And all the dust settles.
He's the ultimate one. He's so smart, and he's so great to work with, and so much fun. It's another way. It's like we were talking about before. It's about the experience you have while you're making it.
Yeah.
And it affects,
so you get to hang out with
affects your work.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you look back on movies, you go, oh, that one was fun. And then you start to appreciate that part because you're usually so looking ahead and just getting through the day and memorizing your lines. You got to stop and say, this is actually fun being here.
He's like a nonstop poet, basically. Or I ran into him at this photo shoot, and it was for Paramount 100-year anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd never met him. And everyone's there. Streep, just every actor, giant thing. They're taking pictures.
Yeah.
And I get over in the stands. I'm way away from everybody. And then he happens to be next to me and goes, he says, you're the one I wanted to meet. I go, what the fuck? And Jerry Lewis is there and Tom Hanks and, it's just weird. And Trump was just starting to run for president. And he goes, we got some John Wayne shit going on. Just says all, stuff about furniture and.
He gets right to the point.
Quirky.
It did sound like him. That did sound like him.
He is a poet.
It sounds like him.
When I was hanging out with him, I used to really be able to do him. I need to get a tape and learn how to do them again. Billy Bob, if you're listening, if you want to come on, you can come back on with Dennis.
Dana will work on his impression.
We will cater.
Yes. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it, bud.
Dennis, thank you for coming in with your still looking good, still looking ripped.
So are you, man.
All of us, yeah.
We're still here.
Still here.
Nice.
Nice.
Let's wax poetic a little bit and be philosophical.
Okay.
Very lucky.
Yeah,
To
we're lucky.
sum up,
Yes.
good fortune,
Lucky.
still employed,
1,000 points of light.
moving, shaking, acting, talking, singing, dancing.
Be grateful.
Be grateful. Never get cocky. Don't think you're special. Treat the catering man the same as you would as the lead. I'm just on a roll here. Hold on.
You are.
Keep going. Peaches is there with you too. Right,
I
Peach?
use him to, if I'm feeling anxious, I do him in my head, summing up, making a list of where I am. Here, Spade's mansion, large, not too big, but special, extra bedrooms, empty. Dennis Quaid, Played Doc Holliday. Parent Trap, didn't get to it. Another classic. Keeps going round and round.
So you're saying that Bush actually keeps you in the now. He's
he's calming.
He's your
guru, just make a list of what you're doing. Like, are you going to go fly a plane today, or what are you doing after the podcast? Are you going to wrestle a cow? You're like a cowboy. I always say, when you get past 60 or something, you can be a pirate or a cowboy. A pirate would be
a weekend boater.
No, a pirate would be from the band. Sorry, Steve. You're gonna get this.
No, we're gonna let you die on the vine.
Oh, by the way, from the band. The band.
Steven Tyler is a pirate.
Oh, yes. He's a pirate.
Got scars.
Yes, you are.
He's a pirate.
He's a pirate.
He's a pirate. You're a cowboy.
Yeah. I'm a cowboy.
So is Billy Bob.
Billy Bob's
or a redneck.
He's an honorary cowboy.
Well, of all the badasses in Hollywood, who do you look to? Like, if you're like, would you like to work with Russell Crowe? Like, you guys would be good to pair up, probably.
I'd like to work with you, Dane.
Yeah,
that's what I'd like to do.
Note to self.
Yeah, and Reagan too.
Reagan,
you could play Bush.
Can I do a cameo as Ross Perot?
You actually should have come. Yes, you could.
Can I come in on the one?
Fucking Pete.
Can I? Come on, you're not listening. Let me put it this way, Dennis. You can't put a porcupine in the barn, light it on fire, and expect to make licorice. Boom. God love them all.
Love you guys.
Well,
man.
Peaches,
really.
Dennis, really, thanks for coming.
I thank you.
It was very
Thanks for coming to the house,
interesting.
and it's great seeing you again, bud.
You too, man.
All right, here we go. Peaches, that's it. That's your cue. This has been a presentation of Odyssey. Please follow, subscribe, leave a like, a review, all this stuff. Smash that button, whatever it is, wherever you get your podcasts. Fly on the Wall is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Jenna Weiss-Berman of Odyssey, and Heather Santoro. The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman. Development. And
yes,
the thing about it is it's good for these clips and stuff. And then someone went on my TikTok, 2 people over 30 on TikTok. This is embarrassing. And they were like, Dana Carvey wants you to join him. And I'm like, okay. And then I look and it's a fake-o.
Fake-o.
Yep.
These sneaky rats.
These rat mofos, they go, because I have a bunch of fake ones and yours is like Dana Carvey. They just change it a little bit to throw you off the scent, or the real Dana Carvey, or it's Dana Carvey, official Dana Carvey.
Do you have a check or anything? Do you have anything that says?
I think they're looking into that for you so they can say you're the official Bland Blarney. But what about, wait, okay, so I have fake ones, but I've been on it longer than you. And so on Instagram, it's like the official David Spade, but official has 3 L's. I mean, people should figure that out. But they don't.
Better.
And there's no check mark.
I just joined it because I wanted to be with the in crowd. All the kids are talking about it.
Yeah.
It's like tick tock,
That's all they say.
Yeah, and hey, look at this. Here's my
They have
dog.
TikTok hair where it's puffy on top. It's like straight. Then it's like Jiffy Pop curls, they got a perm, and they all have it. Like every person under 17 has it, and they wear pajamas. That's it. That's all I have to say.
I'm just trying to aggregate at this point of my career. Yes. I want to get the under 10 crowd. I want to get the 8, 9s, and 10s. I mean, they would like Garth. They would like Church Lady. So I go, what the fa-ha-ha?
My audience of my movies is geared toward 4 to 6-year-olds. So we do a separate writing pass. We go through it. And we go, this feels like it's for an 8-year-old. We got to go a little simpler. And, but on my
number one comment was from a toddler. Just want to fit that in.
What did he say?
2.5. Me like fun.
Oh, that was on YouTube. That's right.
Had crayon all over his face. A really cute kid. Me like fun. That's kind of like my number one fan right now on TikTok.
That got a lot of likes, that comment.
Yeah.
And mine is Instagram DMs where people are like, listen, is this really you? Because I've been getting, first of all, they know that this one's really me, but they go, I've been getting a David Spade I've been talking to for a few months. What's wrong with you? And it's like David Spade with 5 Ds. And they're like, and it's like, and they send me a screenshot. Is this you? Because we've been talking for a long time. And the first one's like, hello, fan. I'm David Spade from Movies, fan. Would you like to be fan friend? I like you. Send money, fan. And they're like, I sent some money. I feel dumb. Is it not you? I'm like, where does it seem like it's me if you know how I talk?
If I get that, I start writing checks right away. I mean, I press bam, because, but David, look, newsflash, all right?
Yeah.
You've been hacked by an AI. Only an AI would spell Spade with 3 Ds.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man.
People fall for it, though.
Come on, man.
And then people send them money. And the last one I got was, hey, can you pay off my mortgage? It's probably a hassle, but here's all my banking information. And so it's like 180 grand bubble. Just if it could be by tonight, would be great. Tomorrow is fine too. I don't love it, but it's tomorrow by noon. And then if I don't pay, then the next day they're like, actually, that one went away. And then a month later, hey, we're just going to build an extra room now. So it's only like 7 grand. So here's all the banking information. I mean, why are you giving me all your banking information?
Well, that's the thing.
It's like a done deal. It's like, oh, I'm scrambling. Let me get a pen.
I feel I've got spider sense because email, it's there, email after email. And then there's one, pay now and avoid jail time. And I'm like, if I click on that, then they can deep dive and know where I live and what color underwear I'm wearing. So I skip it. But you're like a clicker. You're
underpants.
My underpanties.
These people are real people because they give me a whole long diatribe of their story. And they go, you could help me. You're Joe Dirt. You understand. Hey, Heather, you click this, crank the AC down to 77. That's how hot it is. Yeah, 77's cold in this scenario.
I've got meat.
What are you, 62? What are you, 62?
67, 68.
God damn.
No,
psycho.
Man,
if you listen,
sorry, David.
This breaks up many marriages. I have a friend. He wants it at 60 full time, and his wife wants it at 78. And how do you live? If you're the other person, how do you live? Because you hate one way.
More than half of married couples have a sleep divorce. Either a guy, one guy, he's got chronic diarrhea. He's sweating, coughing, barking, and snoring. Yeah. She's in there. She's not sleep. She's sleeping 30, 40 minutes a night. Just a war zone. And then they go, why don't I go in the bedroom 10 feet away and then just have it any temperature I want and sleep? If my wife hears this sound, okay, listen very carefully. If she hears this sound, bolts up awake.
What was the sound?
Well,
do you have a machine? Do you have a noise machine?
Be like,
just that tiniest sound.
Tiniest sound. So
who's there? Who's there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're like this.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I stand up. I don't know. Sleep is an important thing, David. That's my message to you and to
this
all
would be
of
a
our
perfect
fans.
place for a mattress commercial we don't have. Okay. Speaking of pooping, if we're going to talk about the Olympics, we should start.
Yes.
That's the big story. We should start with Poop River that Heather has brought up for months now. But Poop River is one. Now more people know about it because push came to shove. Yes.
The Seine River down the center
Seine,
of
the Seine. I don't like the way they spell it.
It's insane right now. Good night.
Seine. Just spell it. S-E-N. Everyone's fine.
All right.
But we have to add letters.
What's your hot take on this?
My hot take is, you know what it is? It's a couple things, Dana. First of all, I guess it's got, I don't like when I'm about to do one of my Olympic events and I hear the word fecal matter. I don't like bacterium. Like they go, okay, everyone, it's perfectly healthy. Most of you will probably live. It's just, it's a little poop heavy right now. And the problem was people started pooping in it on purpose before the Olympics because they were mad about what? Because they thought they spent too much money on cleaning the river and not cleaning the city.
I love the French culture.
It's
you
so
think
awesome.
of wine and roses, the Eiffel Tower, but yeah, people defecating in a river is also part of the Parisian mix.
Right. And they said they were getting on chat rooms going, they're going to check it a week before the Olympics. And the mayor's going down there. So let's all poop in it. And they all coordinated, no joke, peeing and pooping in the river to make sure, no joke, make sure that it would not pass. they're trying to F up their own Olympics. So anyway, the poor mayor's like, "Oh, the river is fine," and they test it. The guy testing it looks at her and goes, "Not great." She's like, "Oh, it's just a little bacterium and poop will matter." So she goes, "I'll dive in." Oh my God. She goes in, someone else goes in. And it was like Swamp Thing. She comes out. Wah! But she's like this. It's so magnifique in there.
It burns my face. It burns. Get me out of here. It burns my face.
You got turpentine river. Yeah, so she gets out like this. All good. Diarrhea. She's like, yeah, I wouldn't swish it around in your mouth. I did that as a mistake. But just to swim, if you're going to be in it for a couple hours.
Triathletes in there. They went in there. I don't know if they
I
swam.
think they just went in because this is the...
Yeah.
They got it kind of clean. And then the triathletes said, kind of looked down. They saw, what was the water like? Go, didn't taste so good. That's all I said.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, it didn't taste so good.
He said, I see that better be a baby Ruth floating down by my blocks.
Well,
before I jump
technically, just biologically, if you're going to do freestyle swim in a river, you're going to on average swallow a liter of
about 3 or 4
water. And
gallons,
so in that liter of water is all the things that you can possibly imagine.
They go, just enough poop that you can still live. Oh yeah, the guy said, I gulped it. That was one of the guys testing it. And he goes, it's all good. I gulped a little bit. I wouldn't recommend gulping. It was too much.
All right.
But also, because they pushed it back a couple days to give it a little more time to clear out. And then they really did it. And there's someone on the side going, we got a code brown. And I'm like, one of the swimmers going, I think I know what that means. I think I can figure that one out. Code brown,
Yeah.
ramjet.
I know. You got 10 scientists with big beakers on the shore going, no, it's still not good. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that bacteria.
They're all like on the blocks going, I don't speak French, but when they're like this, you go, that's not good. Also, lastly,
you can tell because even though it's French, you can tell it has English roots. How is the river?
Pee-pee, poo-poo,
Up here, what's that skunk's name? The French skunk?
Pepe Le Pew.
Pepe Le Pew.
He wouldn't get it.
Yeah. He wouldn't go near that.
No,
Come
but
on.
how about you're a triathlete? They go, it might be tomorrow. So the next day you carve up on 8 plates of spaghetti and they go, not today. You're like, oh, we're not doing it? Okay, so I'm not running 26 miles. Oh, so we'll do it tomorrow. So now you're walking around all day going, ooh, I got to walk this off. Then they go, okay, now we're doing it. Up. Scramble.
They were going to do the French version where you just get in a cold tub and splash for a few minutes. Then you're on a unicycle for about a quarter of a mile. And then you just walk up these stairs for 2 minutes. And that's the mini French
I could do that.
triathlon. Yeah,
I
that was
did
the
one.
alternative. Yeah.
I did one where it was a paddle boat, just go across a lake. And then I think that's it.
That was it.
And then
I did one. You hop on your left foot 2 times,
Yeah.
slap yourself in the face once, and then stare at the sun for 1 second.
The new
That's it.
Olympics for kids are you DM 3 people, try to get 3 DMs answered, and then you make a TikTok.
I wasn't on TikTok, and they told me the Chinese government was going to study me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's all. All right. Other things.
Other things. Keep it moving. Yeah. The other things in the Olympics, though. What? Any other Olympic stories?
Well, it just occurred to me they do the freestyle. They do in the backstroke. You got to do the backstroke, right?
Sure.
And then they have the freestyle. They have the butterfly. They have the freestyle. It sounds like freestyle means whatever you want. They all seem to do this, but what if someone came up with something that was better than freestyle? Like just, he's got a new stroke. We don't know what it is. I mean, there's no rules that they have to do the Tarzan freestyle. It's just free. So
Yeah,
what if someone came up with a better way
faster
of
one?
swimming? That's my question. Can you?
I think they would have done it by now, but
Mhm.
I'm all for it.
By the way, Simone Biles is doing awesome, which I'm happy
Yeah,
about.
she's killing it.
As of the timing of this podcast, she won another gold in the floor exercise,
Mhm.
which she has so much power. The thing that's interesting is that she's standing there in the corner,
Mhm.
and then she gets a ton of speed up. She goes apparently 20 feet in the air and does 10 somersaults and lands it. But
Yeah.
then because of the rules of the floor exercise, she stands there and does stuff that we could do for about 30 seconds. Just this stuff.
It's filler, yeah.
And then she's somersaulting 9 times and then back to.
You know what? I actually agree with you because I saw the balance beam and they do a flip really hard, then they go.
Yeah. And then they just flap their arms around.
And I go, that I can do that middle part.
They must love the flapping arms part because I landed that. Now I'm just going to.
Yes.
So that was my hot take on that.
What about that guy that walks around with a full boner all the time in his Speedo? I'm like, all right, guy. And he kind of leans back going, what?
I know. He's
Dude.
got a mini loaf of bread in his Speedo.
Yeah.
That
fucking
at some point.
baguette.
And it's like a drag on the pool. He's got that. He can, if he wins with that thing in his pants, I mean, there's a drag coefficient to that.
That is true. It's a very scientific. By the way, if I look like that in a Speedo, I would join swimming. If I was walking around with a space shuttle like this guy, he's standing there and leaning back, pushing it out, going, what? What are you looking at? I'm like, I would join swimming only so I could wear almost nothing so everyone could check out my wang all the whole time.
His nickname is Space Needle. I don't know. I mean,
all the live long day.
All the gigantic statues. Yes.
And no offense, I think he was slapping it around trying to get a partial. You know what I mean? Because he's not walking around that chubbed up. You know, he has to look at 3 pages of porn, maybe one thing on his phone right before.
400 years ago, and like the guys go down with their swords and fight the other villagers with swords. He's the first guy going down with that kind of action up front.
Oh yeah, he's got a lot up front.
That's a big target.
Too many cc's of plasma down there for my taste. Just give us your regular wiener. Let me do a quick thing about the opening ceremonies.
Oh no, yeah, let's go.
Because the opening ceremonies, when everyone's and it was raining,
yeah,
and it was kind of long, to be honest. Because
4 hours,
yeah, and they're sitting there in the pouring rain. The problem is, a lot of them had events the next day. I'd be like, guys, I've got a huge day tomorrow. I think I might, because I actually row at 4 a.m. So I'm going to punch out of the last 6.5 hours tonight. And I'm just going to try to get some.
Standing on a boat in the freezing rain.
Yeah. And they're like, I have to get up in 4.5 hours. I actually have all my events tomorrow, guys. I don't want to be a party pooper, but I'm going to fucking bounce.
I'm running the marathon in 27 minutes and I've been standing on a freezing boat for 7 hours. Do you think I could maybe do a quick exit?
Guys, I have to dive in a poop river in about 22 minutes. All right, that's it. Now we'll go to Biden. Wait, you want to talk about the boxing?
Oh, yeah, the boxing. Well, there's been a controversy that a trans athlete, whether he's a trans athlete, is she or he, I don't know. Here it is. Boxer who had gender test issues wins first Olympic
very
vague.
Fight.
So when you're watching the fight, just as not thinking, you're kind of seeing, seems like a dude really strong hit a smaller woman not near as strong in the face twice, and then she drops to her knees and starts crying. So it's like, I don't know what.
Right. I don't know what to do about this. I like the boxer said enough. Oh my God. Yeah, because her nose was too tweaked.
You know, there's apparently maybe has 2 X chromosomes, or he's born with both lady and man. I don't know. I don't want to go into the biology of it, but it just doesn't look right. And then it's a little gaslighting when the commissioner of the Olympic swimming just goes, this is not a transgender issue.
Right.
This has nothing to do with that.
Well, everyone's trying to dance around and not get in trouble. And of course, no one wants to get in trouble, but you have to just think of a safety issue at some point. You know,
can we put that picture back up? Because I want to do.
That's the boxer, right?
Yeah, I just want to see what. Can we put it back up for a second?
Just in the next 10 minutes.
This is Steven Tyler watching this. Dude look like a lady. Or lady look like a dude. All right, that was a long way to go for that.
Yeah, that was good. That's all right.
But basically, it's not a transgender issue, but she seems to have the strength. She says, I'll beat them all. That was her quote. I'll beat them all. And I thought she meant she would take them all on. That would make it fair if it was the 20 women against this person.
It always comes up like this. Someone from China or somewhere might be doping, but it's all sort of, it's happening so fast, so blurry, so vague. you don't really know. Remember the figure skater? They thought they got a medal anyway, and they thought they were cheating.
Mhm.
Remember when they had Canada was sent the drone over the other team? What was that for?
Oh yeah.
And they got deducted. I don't know what happened.
Well, Russia, they had all the lab samples. This is a few years back, maybe for one Olympics back. Lab samples inside this room, completely guarded and shielded. And then they did a Mission Impossible, drew holes in the ceiling. They had people crawling around. They went down with incredible equipment. Yeah, picked them up, put clean samples in them, and put them back. So that's like, I would give all the Russians all the gold medals just based on doing a Tom Cruise.
Right.
Just
show that. That's more fun to watch.
But you could tell that even the Russians were singing the Mission Impossible theme the next day, and they kind of gave it away.
That's
dun,
like a giveaway.
Dun, 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 dun. Clean samples.
Drugs away. Okay, here, Eric, keep me on.
All right.
Okay, this is South Korea sent a fully kitted out player. So we're looking at a shooting event, which I don't really know about. It's like a Daisy air rifle or something. I used to have a BB gun or a pellet gun.
I had both.
Turkey sent a guy with no lenses. Oh, this guy walks like he just came from the Grove. He's in a t-shirt and no eye protection. He's just like gunning it down, and he's
got his hand in his back pocket. I mean, that's a relax. I guess that's what you're supposed to do.
So either it's not that hard, or it is really hard, and he's really good. But I think he got silver,
which is an incredible achievement. Here's my hot take on that.
Yeah, please.
This whole thing is about nerves. A lot of this sports is just about nerves.
Mhm.
So the way he just had a t-shirt on, walked up, what's up? Yeah, I'm cool. And boom. Because then if you're there, like, I got to do this, or all my family's watching, people
and you're
choke.
putting on all your microscope things and your stuff and your padding, and that's trickier. Oh, wait.
Yep.
Oh, that's somebody who's really dialed in. That looks like Tron.
Is that his normal? What is that? Is that a gun or what?
That's his Daisy air rifle. And I think
that shoots the target for you. Like right now, this is his Olympic gold medal shot right there. He's not even looking at the target.
Ding.
He just said fire.
5 bullseyes. Yeah.
That's the Olympic champion in action.
You know what that thing is on the top right? Looks like a price tag. That's so you don't have to go through the work of shutting one eye when you lean over like that. That does it for you. You just can't see.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really what that's for. All right. Enough of these corny Olympics. Let's get to Joe Biden.
Well, it's just nothing revolutionary. I just kind of, as a human story, not a political story.
Yes.
It's such a turn of all the stuff that went down. And clearly he's a stubborn, tough Irishman. And I'm going to stay.
Fighting it all the way.
I'll stay at the convention, and then he has a change of heart. He goes. So now Kamala, which is great, she's having her moment in politics. So people are losing it over her. And she's, you're being compared to Joe Biden of a month ago. Yeah, that's how it's a bit of that. So she's having her moment. So I just wonder, and it happens to anybody, if a Kamala super fan was at an event and just started telling Joe Biden how great she was. That it's like Toy Story or something. Oh my God, Joe, have you seen her? Oh my God, she's so awesome. She's got, her ratings are bigger than ever. I mean, she's winning every state. And it's just so great, right, Joe? And he's like, yeah, this is great.
Which one's her again?
Can't believe it's not butter.
I got in there on that one. I can't. I couldn't shut up. Oh no.
Take 2. It's fun to be this character. Oh my God, Mr. President, I'm sorry, but Kamala, can you believe it? She's so good. She's so smart. She's so pretty. The ratings are through the roof. I mean, she's got every swing state. She's got everything. I just can't believe we have her. Aren't you happy? Yeah, I was happy. I was happy for Kamala Harris. Can't believe it's not butter.
There we go.
Anyway, but there is some organic human truth in that. Whatever their politics are, there's because they're the next new shiny object. There's a new kid in town, And he was just there, and now everything.
Oh God! I mean, it's honestly like someone getting a new boyfriend. They're like going crazy. It's like, give it a second. It's embarrassing to go Instagram official. Like now, suddenly Biden's sitting there eating his cold gazpacho, going, "Is he even president?" Like we're not going to hear hide nor hair of him now.
And he's still the president of the United States. You kind of forget, because she's not even the nominee yet. But I think the Democrats are just happy because it looked really bad for them. And now they know they've got more than a fighter's chance.
Yeah. It did change gears very quickly. Yeah. And I just don't like, they had that something called like white men for Kamala, or black women for Kamala. Like, I personally don't love that when the race is involved so much. You know what I mean? White dudes for Harris.
Why?
Now, why does it have to be just say people that are, because when race gets into it, it just feels divisive. Like, I don't even know if they should bring up a race at all. She's a great candidate, and there's Trump. That's a candidate. So let's talk about issues and that. It never fails to go back to race and this, and then everyone steps in it, and everyone says the wrong thing. And it's just very, why would you say white men? It's just, it feels condescending.
It feels like the 90s are calling or something. I mean, we had a black president named Barack Obama, superstar, the most popular ex-president in the world right now. And I don't know.
I feel like it's kind of rude because after a while, like they say, oh, when I used to do the sitcom, they go, we have this director that, but at a certain point, everyone drops saying, okay, we have a black director this week. We have a female director. It's like, we have a director. And I think it's condescending to keep bringing up race because it's like, can you believe they got this far? You go, it sounds so rude. You say, hey, they're great. They did a great job.
People
Let's have a debate.
Admire. I think that might have been slightly tongue in cheek. I'm not sure what the joke was because Jeff Bridges and Mark Hamill and people were doing it.
Yeah.
And Jeff Bridges, who I adore, they asked him about it. And he's just like, well, I just figured it'd be kind of a, sort of a joke thing. People took it seriously, but hold on a second. Could I get a hoagie? Yeah.
Where is he filming this, in a saloon?
Well, no, the guy is one of the greatest living actor.
He's a fucking stud.
But he does True Grit, the makeover, and he does it brilliantly. He's the first time Jeff Bridges became full cowboy, and he sort of always sounded like he just had too much to eat and kind of right down here. And then he does the press junket, and they go, Mr. Bridges, how did you find playing the cowboy? And he kept the persona. Yeah. Well, I enjoyed making the movie very much, so I'm happy to do another one. And then from then on, and that's what I said. You're either a cowboy or a pirate. He was a cowboy.
Yeah, he's a studly. Yeah, he's a stud, dude. They had Pete Buttigieg on there too. They had a lot of people.
Yeah, and Mark Hamill.
But what is the theme? They just talk about Kamala, right? That she's great, but it's not a white thing. Just picture if Trump had a white. We're gonna have a big white Zoom call of all white people. Be like, that doesn't hit the ear right. It should never hits the ear.
I gotcha. We want America. I'm going on a limb to come together, not be so divisive. That's our dream.
That's our dream.
I'll start singing pretty soon. I don't know.
If I could dream. All right, what's the next dumb thing we're talking about?
I'm running out of winners.
No, there's something coming up. We'll throw it up here. What do we got? Any funny videos? Okay. The amount of money. Oh, I thought you'd think this is interesting. The amount of money Olympic athletes earn by winning a medal based on their country. Okay. What's the first one? France, a gold gets you 71. This is for the actual athlete, right?
Yeah. Oh, so there's, okay.
71. I thought it would all be the same. I didn't know you get money. Did you have that? You don't know if you got money.
Well, it was for years, it was amateur athletes, and then the rules have been changed, but I didn't know they're getting actual payment,
Yeah, that's like an incentive from the country. So
okay, that's
France, that sounds good. Let's say 71 for gold, 16 for bronze. Ooh.
Now let's go to Cameroon.
No, let's see what's next.
Okay.
Singapore.
No.
700,000.
Wow.
For a goldie.
737,000?
Is that USD? Good question.
Or is that in Maknaikliks, which is their currency, Maknaikliks?
I've got some USD in my pants. Anyway, Spain. Spain is 100 grand. Fine, I'll accept it.
Anything in your pants is funny at the end. Okay.
USA.
How you doing in your pants? Wow, USA is cheap.
By the way, where's all that Ukraine money going? It's not going to the fucking medals payoffs.
Jeez, I'm surprised we're doing as well as we are.
That's because we're out. 37 grand for a gold? Get fucked. Oh, Italy. Okay.
I won 197,000. You like you like a gold medal.
Pepper boy.
Germany. Once we won't pay you tiny little bits uns money.
Is that worse? That's worse than you. That's the worst one, Heather? Yeah. Okay. 21 grand for gold and a roll of quarters for bronze. Okay.
Taiwan? They should be spending that on arms defense against the eventual Chinese invasion.
Is this yen? Is this really a good use of your yen? Because you may have an invasion soon. You might want to invest in some kind of submarine.
Oh, by the way, Norway's getting, hey, Johnny, Norway's getting rat fucked.
Wait a minute. I'm half Norwegian. What the fuck?
Half cheapskate.
You get no money. You do it for the country.
No wonder I always buy at Koi.
By the way, the best distance runner in the world is Norwegian. Ingebrigtsen. He's a machine.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah. Ingebrigtsen in my pants. Doesn't even make sense.
No, I went for the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait. Okay, next one. I thought I had a running joke. I don't. This is, they're checking for injuries, getting medical attention. Ready? Okay, that's your right ball. Am I grabbing your right nut? Yeah, but it's actually my shoulder that hurts.
What country is that guy from? I want to know how much he might get paid to have someone groping him.
Dude, who's getting a hand job during the timeouts? I mean, she's literally like, don't grab the nards that hard. You see what she's doing?
Well, he looked like he was injured, and she had her hand down there, and apparently there is a shot. I don't know if we have it of them having cocktails later at the Olympic.
What happened to cocktails before?
Well, I don't know what event he was in, but whatever it was, it involved some.
There's a rumor that guy is Mormon, so I think it's the next step is soaking. I don't know if she goes, should we go soak in the cold plunge and warm it up?
Pool.
The
show just got sexy.
Yeah. She should pull like a swimmer outside and grab his monster ding dong. Go ahead. Okay, here's how. Oh, this is too bad. I don't know if this is the Olympics, but basketball joke.
Okay,
this is kind of
two
ballsy.
Basketball players. Here's a friendship was born.
Okay, we'll watch play out. So they're talking. Should we do it? Come on, bro. They're thinking about it, going, F it. I like, is that Godfather music?
Pretty close.
They're going to they tell the guy, take a picture of us with our jerseys. Are you sure? Why is it weird? People take pictures with jerseys.
And they're switching jerseys.
Okay. This guy's name.
Yeah. Run it up, Blondo. Run it up, Blondo.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
They switched jerseys.
You see what it said, Heather?
Black and white?
Close.
What did it say?
It said Black Dick. One guy's last name was Dick.
Oh,
and one guy's last name was Black. So they switched it, and you can do the math. Anyway, that was kind of ballsy to do during a game to the cameras and not think you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah. I don't know if they're from countries that pay very much, but they're not taking the Olympics very seriously.
I don't even know if that's the Olympics, to be quite honest. I know our show is a scam, but I hope they weren't too hard on them.
Christ's sakes, you got time to swap jerseys for a pithy rejoinder? You don't think you're going to be on the podium anytime soon. You're spending time undressing and dressing when you should be warming up in the pith pit. Okay.
You know what you're going to be doing? You're going to be diving in, picking up swim caps.
The designated
cap catcher.
swim cap catcher.
Trademark.
Okay. That's a clever rejoinder.
If I was
retrieving,
the swimmers are like, why is there so many poops in the actual pool? I think someone made a break for it.
We may be setting a record for poop references.
My hair looks
definitely in the top 10. Yeah, you look like Troy Donahue. going back to the 50s.
Look at how wavy it is. It looks like I got a solid Floby commercial going.
Yeah, I don't know where you got all that hair, but make sure you put it in the drawer nice and tight when you,
The
when you go to bed.
put it back in the drawer at night.
Yeah.
Lock it up.
Wherever you got it. Yeah.
This side's like a too high. That corner. I'll fix it. Not today. Not now. Not when I'm going on camera. I'll do it later.
One day, the entire
Okay.
show is going to be about what we do to our hair to look like this.
Okay, what's the next one?
All right, here we go.
Americans be having. I don't like when they talk like this. Be having this in their movies and only eat one grape. That is kind of funny. Like this is the breakfast table when there is like a sitcom or like a movie and the kid walks out. Honey, we have to talk about the dance. And he's like, bye, Mom, gotta run. Grabs one grape. And she's like, but I made food for 30.
Yeah, it's muffins, it's eggs, it's waffles, it's chicken, it's bacon. It's like
44 croissants, a bowl of fried chicken, 18 orange juice. That's so fun. That is true. That's funny.
In movies, they get a little carried away. You know, everybody has their department, and the people in charge of dressing up the breakfast table always overdo it. It's up to the director to tamp that down, but the director's too busy stuffing his face.
By the way, I got caught the other day because I was trying to use my new phrase that I think is funny, and it kind of applied. But I had to meet this dude about a movie, and there was no agents or anything. I go, I'll just meet him by myself. And then I'm like, God, when have I had? It's just so hard to meet someone in person by yourself that you don't know, and you got to talk for an hour and have lunch. And I go, oh, I raw dogged it with this dude today. Just nothing. Phone down, no distractions, just no people to help and jump in. And they're like, you raw dogged it with a dude today? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to rephrase. I'm using raw dog too much. I just had a meeting.
It's a catch-all.
Yeah, because raw dog means just bare bones. You just go and have a meeting. You don't have the help of anything. But when you say it's with a guy, it sounds dirty.
Even if it's guy two guys meeting in a restaurant,
right?
Do you know in the Soviet Union, I was told that people always get a third if they want to drink vodka. They always two guys. They always go, let's find a third. Because
it looks like a
third
date
makes the conversation that much easier, you know.
Oh,
but the only thing you could do in that situation is ask questions because people like to talk about themselves.
I do. I go, what do you think about me?
What kind of movie deal have you got for me? And what am I getting? How much money will you pay me?
I said, you talk, I listen. If I get up and leave at any time during this meeting, it's not going well.
It's never a downside to get up in someone's grill a little bit in that situation and go, what you gonna do, Magic Man? What you got?
I do good in meetings that are important. I go, you got 10 seconds, go. And they go, what? And I go, 9, 8. And they're like, here's $1 million.
Do you ever start with, hey, you know who I am, man? Do you know who I am?
They go, I hope so.
I'm fucking Joe Dirt. That's who you're having lunch with. Joe fucking Dirt.
Oh, yeah. Joe Dirte.
Did you ever see the World Wrong Missy?
The World Wrong Missy. Dana, you're gonna get this right one time.
Well, I know it's the wrong Missy, but I call it the World Missy for about 28 episodes. I call it the World Missy.
You know, Bobby Lee brought me up last night at the Improv, and he brought up that he starred in the Wrong Missy with me with one line at the desk, and he did, and we always make fun of it because he had one line, and he kept screwing it up, which was even funnier. Anyway, okay, next subject.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know.
We have another video. It's called Friend Test.
Oh, let's see what this friend test is. I don't even know what this is.
It's actually a test to find out if your friends actually like you.
I don't want to do this.
So recently, psychologists did a study, and they found that on average, 50% of your friends actually hate you, and they don't like you at all. But there's a test to find out which of your friends hate you. So what you have to do is text any of your friends 3 words: friends, friends, friends. And what this will do is, when they receive it, it'll leave an impression in their mind. And then you send another text to them and ask them pick a number between 1 and 10.
I pick a number between 1 and 10. That's so random.
Okay, so depending on the number they send you, they don't even know this is happening, but psychologically, they're actually rating your friendship on a scale of 1 to 10. It's a psychological technique that psychologists use. So if they text you a number below 7, that means they really don't like you, and you probably shouldn't be their friend. But if they give you a number closer to 10, that means they really value your friendship. And hypothetically, this
nice try. Nice try.
That guy's voice was a fucking assault. Yeah. Now, Dana, I texted you a 1 yesterday for some reason, and just don't take that wrong.
Yeah. I texted you still besties forever. And then I immediately regretted the text. I was like,
why?
God, that's so corny.
No, I like it.
I shouldn't have pressed send.
I said
cried myself to sleep.
BFFFF. That means, I don't know what. Yeah, that's weird.
Who would you rescue on a desert island? Me or Adam Sandler?
Oh, do not make me do this.
On I need a rescue.
I hope
Come
they arrest.
on!
I hope they get me and not. Are you?
You can sing when you do that. Sound,
Give me some coconuts. I can make a not so tasty stew.
I want a crab cakes.
No, you didn't rhyme with stew.
Well, but crab cakes.
What's gonna be for dinner?
What do you
Crab
want,
cakes
Mom?
again.
Crab cakes.
Oh, crab cake. I have a picture of us, Dana, from you doing Tony Montana on Lights Out.
Do you?
Heather gave me a present. And you
is
were
that
one of the
trending?
pictures. It's trending in my room because in my office I have a bunch of pictures. Okay, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
They're pushing us along. Oh, this is from the podcast. We have Joe Elliott, and we should have put, I'm going to rag on the podcast. We didn't put on Fly on the Wall, Joe Elliott from Def Leppard. So we just have a picture and saying, listen to Joe Elliott this week. But I don't know if everyone knows he's from Def Leppard.
No, Def Leppard. Yeah, for sure.
So he told a story, if you go over and listen to that, of how I ran into him somewhere. I had worn a Joe Dirt t-shirt and, a Def Leppard t-shirt and Joe Dirt, and then blah, blah. And then we talked about that. And then I was with Chris Rock and Kid Rock and Justin Timberlake. Do you remember what bar he said, Heather? You do not. Okay. And so he said, and then he just hit us up later and said, I think I have a picture from that night. Look at me with a fedora. Why would I even show this picture? It was shot through a fucking shower curtain or a piece of soap.
It's a blurry mess.
It's the worst picture ever taken in history.
Polaroid camera from the 70s.
This was shot through a fucking wall.
Well,
this is an
probably
infrared.
Before iPhones.
Jesus, of course. It was like one of those throwaway cameras that's green,
This is clearly a CIA photo. Somehow
this is
you guys
clearly
got on a list.
from Unsolved Mysteries. And then they were last seen at a bar together. Spade was wearing his favorite fedora and no one understood why he wore it.
Well, it was kind of embarrassing during the podcast when Joe goes, yeah, we did meet. And you're like, what?
I know. Why wouldn't I remember that? But I think I do remember meeting him. I just didn't know it was a whole shenanigans of going to a karaoke bar.
You had a couple little pops.
I had a few knocks. I'm a little bit of a boozy Susie.
By the way, just quick insert. Did you see the Secret Service guy, the new leader of the Secret Service, being grilled by Congress? God, it's so
seen
funny.
It. He didn't. Whatever I saw, he didn't answer much.
That's what was so funny. I mean, they're there. It's been 3 weeks. It's like they don't have any information, and they've got that John Kennedy guy, Senator John Kennedy. Now, I'd like to understand something. He goes so slow.
Just a basic question.
Why did you not have Secret Service people on the roof where the shooter was? The guy's like, well, we were going to look into that, and we don't really, we're comprehensively studying. Do you have any idea how stupid you sound right now?
Oh, a normal person might think if I was going to shoot the president, I would climb up on the nearest shed. Now, that's exactly what he did, and we all thought of that except you.
Well, Senator, we decided to put the Secret Service personnel inside the shed. So let me get this straight. You put the secret, it's a little Ross Pro coming in.
Yeah,
you put the Secret Service guys inside the shed. Did you also, I understand, set up a buffet for them? Well,
you put it where the shed, where there's a wall you can't shoot through.
So let me
the roof is where you can do lots of shooting.
So they were in the shed serving themselves macaroni and cheese and spare ribs while the young man climbed on top of the shed and took aim at the former president. Is that right? Well, we're going to study that. There was macaroni and cheese. We don't know if there were actual soft drinks.
We found shrapnels of coleslaw all around the shed. Now, this sounds dumber than a 3-peckered billy goat.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, you haven't answered one gosh damn question.
Yeah. All we found instead of shells was crawdads that had been roasted in honey butter sauce.
Sir, do you know what a shrimp ball is?
While your agents were having shrimp bowls and honey roasted crawdads, someone was on the roof doing a slow crawl with a loaded weapon. Is that correct? Well, we're going to study it. We don't know, and we'll find out something. Guess what? Fuck you.
Yeah, did you really assign the Secret Service to go out and get more coleslaw and some Funyuns?
So they had Pringles
at the exact time of the gunning down of the president.
Pulled the trigger. They were pulling their finger around 2 Pringles at a time, and that canister of Pringles was gone before the shooting was over. Is that correct? We do believe the Pringles were emptied at the same time the rifle was emptied, sir.
Interesting.
I think it's funny how long we stayed with this bit.
Yeah, this bit feels like it's over and it's still going.
It's just, if we could get Jeff Foxworthy on the line
and Ross Perot
and Ross Perot have a baby and have him interrogate the Secret Service.
And then evaporate all the jokes out of it, and it would be this bit. Now, let me check my notes here.
You can't put a porcupine in a barn, light it on fire, and expect to make licorice.
I don't think you're going to get a job sucking farts out of dead chickens after this. My opinion.
You will never be fully employed swallowing tadpoles that have been basted in a buttercream barbecue sauce.
Anyway, before we go, what is the product code on that barbecue place? Because I want to order something. Can you
give me a definition of an assassination attempt? Do you have that information on your person?
Do you understand that guns are involved in an assassination? So if you see some Joe Dirt looking motherfucker walking out with a rifle, you might want to put a dog ear or put a pin in him and say, check this guy out, maybe frisk him.
Yeah. You have got to pat down all the carnival goers. Now, I understand you had 40,000 people in that carnival, and they all were patted down, except one individual. Is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
When you're on a rooftop 60 feet up and everyone on the ground is saying, that guy's got a gun, is that your first clue that you might want to start pulling back the hammer and shooting away?
If you see a tank, a military tank, come into an event and start firing shells toward the speaker, would that be a good thing or a bad thing?
Sir, your time is up. I got one more. Someone needs to stop us. Okay, what else can we do? Is it almost over?
Well, no, it's 49, we have 44.
1 more bit. 49. Okay, one more bit. What do we got? Anything good on there?
Then I got some athletic shorts.
Here's Big Fart. That was a short and gassy one. Do you want to hear another one?
I don't even know how to continue this after that. What the fuck?
It's Alexa.
What is going on? That was Alexa, stop.
By the way,
okie dokie.
She's trying to do like a TikTok, and Alexa keeps. I think she's playing it very real. If it's real, she's playing it very good.
Yeah, I wondered it was pre-recorded. I mean, at first it did sound like Alexis. Can you make Alexis make sounds like that?
Yeah, but also sometimes when I'm talking, it sounds like I say, "Hey Siri," and then it answers something when I'm in the middle of a conversation, like it just did. It heard me say Siri. But if you're just talking and say the wrong thing, and Alexa goes, "Oh, you want to hear some gross farts?" Why would Alexa even think of that and go along with it?
Well, they have Alexa, and it's been a while. They have Fartexa, which is a different one that makes sounds. Yeah,
we found something here. There we go. We found something.
Yeah, Fartexa is maybe not as comprehensive, but makes party sounds or whatever you want Fartexa to say. Yeah.
Alexa, I need a machine gun fart. Thank you, Fartexa.
Windy pop. Windy pop for me.
Windy pop. What's that one? A fart?
Yes. That's a polite.
I used to be able to do a great one.
And what's wrong with it now?
That one's not good. Nah, that's too typical. It's too commercial. Okay, is that the last one, or should we get off? Because
that's a big wah, wah, wah.
Wah. Should we end on that clanker? Probably.
Or should we do more Southern guy?
We just do it during the credits. The credits roll. We're still talking.
If a B-2 bomber is coming down 100 feet over the carnival, headed toward the stage, would you consider that a threat?
Would you stop and frisk it?
Frisk it.
After you had your brisket? I stayed on the buffet theme.
Yeah. Well, I do like the way you hit frisk it. You frisk it.
Added syllables.
Yeah,
all right, let's just end with that. We're killing. This is funny. Okay. Thanks, Dana. I know you're busy.
Remember,
thank you for joining Superfly.
Smash that subscribe button, man.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it's good for us. That's what everybody does it. It's all the rage. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I added a date in my Denver show that we're filming for whatever. And so come out, Denver.
What is the date of your Denver show?
What is it, Heather? It's October 12th, maybe. Is it? I have all my tour dates on davidspade.com. October 11th we added, but we're going back. We're hitting Boise. We're hitting some big cities, Seattle. So I'll be out the next month. But thanks, everybody, for listening, and we will talk soon. Okay, bye, Dana.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey. Superfly is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Jenna Weiss-Berman of Odyssey, Heather Santoro, and Greg Holtzman. Hope you liked it.